Hello, virtual educators. In this video, I want to show you how the LTVD is a student-centered cooperative learning approach. Now, on the left here, I've listed the cooperative learning elements that you were introduced to at the beginning of the mini course. And on the right, I have listed the components within the LTVD that align with those particular elements. So let's go over those. So for positive interdependence, we're talking about group members' efforts are required for group success, and group members have a unique contribution to make to the joint effort as a result of their resources and or their role or responsibilities. So the fact that everyone has to speak first and post secondly for every single step requires that every group member responds and participates. Then the fact that every group member has a group role means that every group member is making a unique contribution based on the responsibilities of that role, but also when they're speaking and posting, they're also presenting information based on as a result of their resources. So their resources, which would be the same resources in this case, which would be their textbook or the article, or even when they're making connections to other textbooks or other courses or other resources within in the class. So positive interdependence is covered that way. Face-to-face interaction, orally explaining how to solve problems, teaching one's knowledge to others, checking for understanding, discussing concepts being learned, and connecting present with past learning. Well, they meet in the live virtual classroom. Okay, so that's how we align with that face to face. We're not in the same place physically, but we are in the same place virtually at the same time. And we're doing all of these things that are listed here in the virtual classroom live. And again, I want to reiterate that that is why this particular framework for cooperative learning must be done live. Cooperative learning period is done live, but this particular framework must be done live because I said before, I've had people ask me, well, how can you do this? You know, have you tried to do this on the discussion board? Have you tried to do this? No, I haven't, because the purpose of this is to actually come together and to interact live. All right, individual and group accountability. Keeping the size of the group small. The smaller the size of the group, the greater the individual accountability may be. Explain the reasoning and rationale underlying group answers. Having students teach what they learned to someone else. Okay, so the LTVD study template requires them to explain, actually having them to gather their thoughts, to get their information together first so that they can come together with that individual accountability from the template, but then with that group accountability to create the editor's template together. And while creating that editor's template together, they are explaining the reasoning and rationale underlying the group answers. They're also teaching students what they've learned. Okay, and so we cover that individual and group accountability with having a template that's due to their instructor at a certain time, 2 or 3 days before they actually meet, and then the editor's template that they create together while they're in class. All right, interpersonal and small group skills. Social skills must be taught. I repeat, social skills must be taught in this particular format. So leadership skills, decision making, trust building, communication, conflict management skills, all of these things are being built while they are in the group. How? Through their group roles. Okay, they're learning leadership skills through their group roles. They're learning the main message. They're learning how to communicate and to collaborate with each other to come up with the main message that they all can agree on. When they evaluate the author's presentation, they're having to communicate. They're having to make a decision about whether they want to accept that person's answer, whether they want to add to it. And reflection, they're having to think about how well they did as a group and how well that they're doing individually. And then through the publication process, which I love, they learn the writing process and the steps that it takes to get to the final document that you want me to actually grade. So they have to trust that the editor is going to edit. The editor has to place it on the file exchange or the group discussion board so that people can look at it, or the wiki, wherever they're going to place it for them to look at, so that they can read over it and give feedback on it before the final draft is completed to be submitted for a grade. So all of this requires them to communicate with each other. It requires them to trust each other, to make decisions, to lead, and to manage any conflicts they may have. Okay, and then last but not least, group processing. They have what's called a reflection form, and with the reflection form, it allows them to do these three things. Group members discuss how well they're achieving their goals and maintaining effective working relationships, describe what member actions are helpful and not helpful, and make decisions about what behaviors to continue or to change. So those are the ways that the LTVD is a student-centered cooperative learning approach, where all of these things are about the student owning and managing their learning, while you sit back and facilitate, guide, and interfere or interject when necessary. But other than that, they lead from the beginning to the end. They go through the whole instructional approach without interference from their instructor. All right, until the next video, I'll see you.